I can't emphasize this enough. This is one of the more fascinating situations I've ever seen in all my time covering college football. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, hope all of you having a great week. Hope all of you having a great Wednesday. If not, hope this video can make it a little bit better. And man, oh man, I don't know if it's just me, but it feels like this week is flying by. But I ain't complaining because the quicker we can get to Saturday, the better. College football Saturdays are what I live for. It's really a perfect/dream day in my humble opinion. Sitting on the couch all day watching college football, making some reaction videos for you guys, talking it up with you guys and chatting it up with you on Twitter. It doesn't get any better than that. In today's video though, we got to talk about a situation that involves no other than Ryan Williams and Jeremiah Smith. There's no introduction needed for Ryan Williams because everybody and their mama at least saw it live. You saw some highlights. You can't get on social media without seeing Ryan Williams recently. On the flip side for Jeremiah Smith, he might need a slight introduction just due to the fact Ohio State hasn't been in the spotlight because they've been playing cupcakes. We're going to talk all about that. We got two other topics that includes Lincoln Riley. He's wanting to see some change in regards to the redshirt rules, and I think he's got a great argument. One other thing we're going to speak on is NCAA just released their new ratings for these players because they update them. And some of these might shock you to say the least. We got a jam-packed video per usual. It's the middle of the season. Strap in, buckle up, get you a snack, get you a popcorn, get your favorite meal you like to eat when you watch a video. Because trust me, I do the same thing. But all right, Matt, blah, blah, shut the crap up. Now, without further ado, let's get into it. Okay, I got bad and good news. The bad news is, if you were looking forward to the Lincoln Riley and NCAA ratings topic, unfortunately, we will not be talking about it in this video. I did talk about it, and by the way, this is future Matt coming in to re-edit the video, but if I would have left those topics in with as long as I talked about the Ryan Williams and Jeremiah Smith topic and situation, this would have been like a 20 to 22, 23-minute video. And I already know a bunch of you are going to be in the comments saying, Matt, why did it take 10 or 11 minutes to get to the Jeremiah Smith and Ryan Williams topic? Why can't we just start out with that? I already know some people are going to be saying that, so instead of having one mega long video, we're going to split them up. And tonight, and whatever else we talk about, we're going to talk about Lincoln Riley and the NCAA ratings. It probably won't even be the main topic, but we'll just throw that in with whatever else we talk about. Hope you understand, and hey, at least you got a teaser for tonight's video, so come on back later tonight. Let's get back on track with the regular scheduled program, and that's Ryan Williams and Jeremiah Smith. To give you some context on our situation before we really get going in all this, Jeremiah Smith coming out of high school wasn't just a 5-star recruit and the #1 wide receiver in the nation. He was the #1 overall player in the nation. I think y'all know what that means, but if you don't, let me dumb it down even more. That means he's the best of the best. It doesn't get any better than him. And I'm here to tell you right now, yeah, he's that good. He's the real deal. This isn't going to be one of those guys who make a what happened to video in a couple of years. That's a little information about him. On the flip side, Ryan Williams, well, you already know he's a star, but let me give you some more background knowledge. The reason Ryan Williams is playing for Alabama at the age of 17 years old is because he reclassified. If he wouldn't have reclassified, he'd have been the #1 wide receiver in his class, but since he did, he then got vaulted into the 2023 recruiting class, or my bad, the 2024 recruiting class. That is the same class as Jeremiah Smith, and since Jeremiah Smith was #1, he fell behind him, and he actually wasn't ranked #2. Ryan Williams was ranked #3 behind Cam Coleman. The Cam Coleman situation is a different video for a different day, and I know what you're sitting there thinking. Well, good gosh almighty, if Ryan Williams is this good, how good is Cam Coleman? We'll get to that video when we get to it. Like I was saying though, Ryan Williams still a really good football player, so he got that 5-star ranking, 99 overall, 3rd best wide receiver in the nation, and #8 ranked overall player in the nation. And yet again, this does matter. I know you're sick and tired of hearing about, oh, he's 17. But he was one of the younger guys in that class. I say all that to say this. Coming out of high school, the consensus was, oh yeah, Jeremiah Smith, he's wide receiver #1. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. People saying that, it wasn't a knock on Ryan Williams. It was more of a testimony to how unreal Jeremiah Smith was, or is. They're not exactly the same, but if I had to give you a good example, Jeremiah Smith reminds me a lot of Julio Jones coming out of high school. Big, strong, and fast wide receiver. Ryan Williams ain't big and strong. I love the kid, but he's only about 6 foot, 6'1", 170 pounds soaking wet. So they're not exactly, when it comes to the NFL, the same prospect, because Jeremiah Smith looks like an NFL receiver right now. Not to say that Ryan Williams wouldn't tear it up in the NFL, because I think he would. Y'all remember Devontae Smith at Alabama, super skinny guy, and people heading into a draft was like, oh, he's got this small frame. How's he going to do in the NFL? Is he going to be ready? And you've seen Devontae Smith. He's been just fine. But my point in all of this is Smith was viewed as the guy, the next best thing since sliced bread. Well, here we are. Fast forward time a little bit. We are close to the halfway point in the college football season, and I know Ohio State fans ain't going to like to hear this, but Ryan Williams has sort of one-upped Jeremiah Smith. And it's not because Jeremiah Smith has done bad at Ohio State, don't get me wrong. It's more so of Ryan Williams has just been putting on a show. And what has solidified Ryan Williams as the best freshman wide receiver in this class up until this point is for what he did against Georgia. He made future NFL players that are coached by one of the greatest defensive minds in college football history, Kirby Smart, look silly and foolish out there. And I'm not just talking about that final catch. There was one in the first half where he did this half spin move, and the Georgia player literally just fell on the ground and didn't even get a finger on him. It's like he broke his ankles, but in football.
That's the middle, Williams.
I could sit up here and rant and rave about it, but here's a long answer short. He was on their level. And we've seen Ryan Williams kind of do that all year long. We saw it against Western Kentucky. We saw it against Wisconsin. But what did people like me and everybody else say? Oh, yeah, well, he looks really good. Don't get me wrong, but it's Wisconsin and Western Kentucky. Let's see him against Georgia. And, yeah. Oh, we saw him against Georgia, all right. He looked unreal, and the only thing you need to say about it is this right here. I grew up in the Southeast. I currently reside in the Southeast, only a few hours away from that Georgia campus. I've always interacted with Georgia football fans my entire life, and they're a big part of our community and channel. By the way, shout out to Dog Nation. And Georgia fans, although they've respected Alabama, they never after a game have just applauded a player like they've applauded Ryan Williams. As mad as they were with how their team played in that first half, and as mad as they were with them losing the game, they were still saying how insane Ryan Williams is. That's when I knew. I was like, okay, so it's not just Bama fans. Everyone realizes this kid's special and he's something else. Normally in life, when you have greats, people tend to hate on them. For example, LeBron James. But every so often, there's a young man that comes around where he's so good, so great, you can't even hate on him. And that's Ryan Williams currently. I haven't seen in the comment section of Twitter, YouTube videos, wherever you want to look on social media of somebody saying something bad about Ryan Williams. But, and I have a really big but, you better believe this, ever since that Georgia game, there's been one question everybody's been asking, and it's what everybody's talking about. Who's better, Ryan Williams or Jeremiah Smith? If you got Twitter and you're on Twitter, by the way, shout out to our Twitter community, you know everybody's been talking about that. You couldn't get on Twitter after the game without somebody bringing it up. I can't emphasize this enough. This is one of the more fascinating situations I've ever seen in all my time covering college football. There's so many different aspects and arguments to this debate. It's like, okay, where do you want me to start first? We'll start with this because I'm looking at this on Twitter right now. Just to give you some perspective on their numbers. Through the season so far, Ryan Williams has 16 catches for 462 yards, insane, with 5 touchdowns. Jeremiah Smith has 19 catches, 366 yards, which is really good, and 6 touchdowns, or total touchdowns. With me showing you those numbers, it was the first thing I thought of when I saw people talking about this, and it's the first thing you're thinking of. You're probably about to write in the comment section, well, Matt, Jeremiah Smith is playing cupcakes like you said, and I agree. Ryan Williams is doing this against, like I said, he did it against an NFL defense on Saturday, and he's doing it against much better competition. Jeremiah Smith is doing this against, let me pull up Ohio State's schedule, but I know they play like Marshall, Akron. He's doing it against nobodies. Okay, here it is. Akron, they suck. Western Michigan, they suck. Marshall sucks, and Michigan State sucks. And even this weekend, they play Iowa. Iowa sucks. So we really won't see Jeremiah Smith go up against a top team until they play Oregon. And even at that, Oregon's defense is kind of meh at best, so it's not like a Georgia. I would love to see Jeremiah Smith go up against Georgia. But I digress. Point is, who has better numbers at this point in time in the season? Ryan Williams. Who has the better overall game? Ryan Williams. And who has played harder competition? Ryan Williams. And also there is the factor of he had arguably one of the greatest catches in Alabama history and one of the biggest moments in Alabama history. You're down by 1 at home against the top, what was it? Georgia was ranked 2 in the nation at the time. I have it number 1 in my rankings, but number 1, number 2 doesn't really matter. He also had the bobbling catch in the game, and where I'm going at with this is Ryan Williams, he's more appealing to the eyes. He runs so smoothly out there. He's having fun. He's doing all the TikTok dances. He's charismatic. He's a very likable guy. There's no off-the-field problems, just easy to root for. Not to say that Jeremiah Smith isn't all those things or can't be those things, but he hasn't had the stage and the moment quite just yet. So with that being said, most people, when they hear this debate of who's better, Jeremiah Smith or Ryan Williams, their immediate answer is, dude, what are we even talking about? It's Ryan Williams. He had 177 receiving yards against Georgia. Conversation's over with. To me, if you want my honest and unbiased opinion, here it is right here. And I actually said this on Twitter. This is my response to everybody talking about this, everybody asking me, who's better, Matt, Ryan Williams or Jeremiah Smith? I tweeted this out. If you want to follow my Twitter, feel free to do so. Just appreciate greatness. And you see where I said, buddy, number one, he's not better than Ryan Williams. I was feeding the trolls with that response. On a serious note, I think they're 1A, 1B. And I'm curious, let me know in the comment section, who do you think's better, or are you in the same boat as me? You think they're 1A, 1B? They're equal. But like we was talking about, I think the consensus notion around the nation, especially for your casual fans, is, what? Jeremiah Smith? I ain't even seen I do it on TV yet. It's got to be Ryan Williams. And that's fine if you think that, because of, like we just talked about, Ryan Williams has done this in the national spotlight. But I'm here to tell you right now, if you don't know who Jeremiah Smith is, get ready to learn his name. For my Ryan Williams fans, as good as you think Williams is, Jeremiah Smith is right there with them. I ain't going to sit up here and say Jeremiah Smith's better, and I'm not going to say Ryan Williams is better, because they're neck and neck to me. I do want to say this before we end out the video. I've seen some Ohio State fans say, oh, well, Jeremiah Smith, he has the NFL body and Ryan Williams doesn't. Buddy, are you being serious? Do results and numbers just not matter anymore? That is the equivalent to saying Alabama shouldn't play Vanderbilt this weekend because we know Alabama's going to win. You still got to play the games. Same thing with these guys. It doesn't matter if Ryan Williams is only 6'1", 170, which isn't crazy small. He'll get bigger. You still got to go out there and guard him. And I'll go as far as saying this, Ryan Williams is a little bit more elusive and quicker than Jeremiah Smith. But Jeremiah Smith makes up for that with his strength and size. So when you start arguing those points, they just equal back out. You could attack this argument from so many different angles, but I just like to come to the executive conclusion and decision that you just got to sit back and appreciate greatness. These guys are phenomenal, and it's really a shame that they're having great freshman seasons, and you got people arguing, well, who's better? Like, you're just taking away from the glory, man. Just sit back, eat your cheesy puffs, eat your Domino pizza with the garlic butter and crust, and enjoy the game. That's all I got to say about that. I'm curious. Let me know your thoughts down below. But